You're about to uncover the secrets behind one of the most astonishing business transformations ever. So imagine taking your business from $40,000 a month to over $200,000 a month in just 60 days without any new funnels, extra ad spend, and all while working less. And I want to blow this up so you can see that Heather was around $180,000 a month right before the end of the month, and then went on to go to over 200 grand. But first, if you're new here and you don't know me, my name is Terrence Chister. By the age of 31, I've generated over 9 figures and worked with legends like Kevin O'Leary, Grant Cardone, Justin Waller, and more. And today, I'd like to share the strategies that Heather used to achieve the growth. And just so you guys can see right here, where I started 2016, could barely afford rent, and here over $100 million in sales. Obviously, that's Grant Cardone, Justin Waller, and those are real pictures, not AI. Now, for context, Heather was stuck at 40 grand a month and was struggling with 3 major issues that were holding her back. We're going to cover those in this video, and let's dive into those problems and how we solve them. Now, Heather is an online fitness coach who specializes in fixing women's metabolisms and allowing them to lose weight. Before we celebrate the 200K win, though, I want to go back to the start. And Heather started as a client with us back in 2021, so I've been in the game for a minute. She was working a 9-to-5 job and making $1,000 a month with her fitness coaching. Keep in mind, she was also an immigrant from China. She spoke no English. And so I say that because if she could do it, you can do it too. And I hope you get inspiration from this video. Now, she was offering a monthly membership at $130 a month and never done high ticket before. She wanted to replace her 9-to-5 job and spend more time at home with her 2 children. So we helped her scale her business to around $40,000 a month from scratch. And then after that point, she decided to try to run things on her own. The only problem was that she ended up staying stuck at around the 40K mark for the next 2 years and still didn't have the time with her family that she wanted. And that's when we decided to come back, which, well, she decided to come back, right? Which was a wise decision, wink, wink. And, but for us to help her reach her goals, we had to solve the bottlenecks that weren't allowing her to scale. So this brings us to problem number 1 now that you guys have context. Her time management was awful. Most entrepreneurs spend time doing things that do not move the needle forward. I see this all the time. Heck, I even have a YouTube video where I help another client of ours get a schedule and priority straight in less than 60 minutes. Check the link in the comment section below if you want to check that out, or this will be on my new YouTube. If you're seeing this inside a course, it'll be on my YouTube. If this is on YouTube, it could be in the description below. Now, when Heather and I got on a call, she told me that she was too busy. So this is code word for I don't know what to focus on. Heather was spending a majority of her day making loads of content instead of doing what I call money-making activities. So money-making activities include anything that directly drives sales calls. So typically that means either doing more outbound tasks like messaging, calling leads, running ads, or a combination. And she felt stuck because she was working all day but couldn't seem to move the needle. And this is a familiar territory for many entrepreneurs. And after eyeing how she was spending her time, I realized she was spending way too much of it on content and client fulfillment and not nearly enough time on driving sales, aka money-making activities. Now, keep in mind, the CEO of the company is almost always going to be the best at driving sales and increasing revenue. Doing tasks that don't directly drive sales not only hurts your company, but will leave you exhausted, frustrated, and ready to quit, just like Heather was. After eyeing her daily work schedule, we created a new routine for her to focus on. So first, I got her to cut back from 4 hours a day making content to spending 1 hour per day. Now, depending on the business owner, I might even recommend 0 hours per day, but Heather had a decent sized TikTok audience and was able to drive sales from there. But 4 hours per day was overkill, and she wasn't getting much more out of it that an hour could solve for. So please note that most of your time should be having conversations with people to generate sales calls, not becoming a TikTok superstar. We are business owners, not content creators, and you don't have tons of control over social media engagement, but you can control how many messages you send out and how many calls you book. What I love about business is it's 100% math. People who get emotional in business never do well because they're always making decisions based on hunches or feelings versus data, and data will always tell you what to do. The second thing is that she needed to be spending at least 2.5 hours per week training her team. Currently, she was at 0. Right? And that's not ever good. Some entrepreneurs make hires thinking after 30 days of training that the new hire is ready to handle the world and will never need help again. The truth is you constantly need to have calls with your team to train them and keep them on track. Think of it like going to the gym. If you just stop, you lose all the prior progress that you've made. In my case, I have a team of 70, so I have managers who manage my teams. But when it comes to having a small team between 1 to 2 employees, such as a setter and a coach, they constantly need guidance and accountability from the owner themselves. Because without a manager managing the team, you are the manager. And a lot of people forget that, especially CEOs. The rest of our time was meant to be spent on money-making activities. Now, you're probably wondering, what are money-making activities, or what are the best? It's a great question. Answer to that depends on where you're at in your business. So in Heather's case, this was her helping her setter dial more of the leads in her system and setting sales calls. Her setter was already completely maxed out, and based on the data Heather had, the more they called, the more people they set for sales calls. So here's some of that data. For every 1,000 dials, they would get 200 pickups. So anything above 10% is phenomenal, by the way. They would set 20% of those calls. Anything, again, above 10% is phenomenal. And Heather would close 10% of those sets. That might actually be a low number as well. That's the number that I went off recently with her. But keep in mind, if it's anything above that, it's extra gravy on top. So in short, they would set 40 and they'd close at least 4. And they would be doing hundreds of dials a day. Usually in a day, you can do about 200 to 300 dials, depending on how many pickups. So the bottleneck was that they were getting way more leads than their seller could possibly call in a day. And remember that Heather was driving a ton of leads already from running ads and her organic TikTok. So I told Heather that instead of making 4 hours of content a day and coaching clients, that she needed to bring in a coach ASAP to offload any client fulfillment and start setting as many calls as she could with her setter to fill up her calendar. And 1 week of being back with us and taking my advice, she went from 5 sales calls per week to 25 sales calls per week. So that's 20 a month to over 100. That's a 5x return. And you guys can see right here, let me go ahead and blow this up, that she went from 5 more calls a day to 25. So that was how her calendar looked to this. And that's perfect. Keep in mind, she's a mom. She's picking up kids. You guys can see that. This is not just a solopreneur who has nothing else to do. She's very busy and she has a very demanding schedule. So what's incredible is what you can get done when you simply focus on the right things. If you're not where you want to be financially, it may not be because you don't know how to work hard. It may be that you just don't know where you should be focusing. The second largest problem that ties into time management is that Heather was not using the CRM properly. So sure, she was collecting emails, but she wasn't sending any follow-up emails or text messages. All the leads that came in were just sitting on her list without any type of follow-up pushing them to a call. I have no idea why she was collecting emails without having proper follow-up in place, but this is crucial to having a successful business. Having a proper follow-up, or buy or die sequence is what I like to call it, in place is an absolute must to pushing new revenue in every single month. And it should look something like this. I'm going to show you guys right below down here. This reminded me of back when I was doing about 300K a month, and I literally had Google Docs, Sheets, Notes, Zoom, videos all over the place. It was a zoo. And thank God I hired my current COO who took me from the dark ages to the Renaissance. And to speed up that process, we also have what we call our Russian Ninja, or KGB, Lisa. She's our Elite360.io expert and helps out with all of our backend automations of tech every time we have a new email sequence, text setup, or anything in between. If you don't already know, Elite360 is our proprietary software that helps business owners make money in their sleep. So following up with leads can be super complex, and it can look like this. And this is a little bit of our follow-up process, you guys can see. It's pretty robust and a lot of different places they can go. And although it is scary looking, it's 100% necessary to scale a company properly, because one of the biggest things that's made me successful, and Heather for that matter, and my clients, is by relentless follow-up with leads via texting, dialing, emails, voicemails, DMs, retargeting ads, lead magnets, Facebook groups, live events, and more. Most business owners I see that are struggling know the first couple steps in how to generate leads, but forget numerous follow-up attempts are usually necessary to get someone over the line. In fact, when you just Google how many times do I need to follow up with leads to get them to buy, this is what pops up. If you go on Google and type that in, it says 80% of sales require 5 follow-ups after the initial meeting. So it's pretty much everyone. And so in terms of what we did with Heather, we started out by setting up an email and text automation system. That way, when leads come in, they would actually get emails and text stripped to them over a 7 to 10 day period, like what I'm about to show on the screen. And so this is an example of a 7 to 10 day email follow-up system with text, emails, etc., all going out to different individuals, right? And this is every single lead that comes into her system. And you'd be surprised at how many business owners don't have this set up. So once this was all set up, the leads that opted in for Heather would now actually get something delivered to them. And in those texts and emails, you want to deliver something of value to the prospect. So followed by a call to action to book a call or buy or whatever it is you want them to do. By simply doing this work upfront one time, Heather would reap the benefits forever. And that's why it's so interesting when business owners don't do this, because you're choosing to basically hurt your business. So on average, by having email and text automation set up, a business owner can add over 30% or more to their bottom line. The 2 most important things from this are, 1, it is the smallest details that can make the biggest difference. So Heather went from 40K a month to 200K a month by simply reallocating her time and setting up follow-up systems. And if you think about it, she didn't work a second more. She just changed what she was focusing on and then built something to follow up with leads that worked while she slept. And then number 2, you stop playing the victim. If your business isn't growing, it's not because you're unlucky or because it's unfair. It's because you aren't doing the right tasks. It's 100% in your control to fix your business. And by the way, if you want this exact same system that Heather has and need help setting it up, you can book a call by clicking a link here on the Google Doc or in the description below the video. I hope you guys enjoy this type of content. And if you know one entrepreneur who can benefit from it, please share. That's it for today. And I'll see you guys in the next video.